Forgive me for the audio fan on my laptop, but this is my demonstration of color profiles. What we have here is a ColorSync utility. It's an app found inside any Macintosh under Utilities. It represents the color spectrum in a visual 3D model that of colors available in that profile. So this used to be a globe. The North Pole was white, the South Pole was black. If you look at it top down, you can see red, green, and blue, and then what they blend to on the sides, which is cyan, magenta, yellow. And it was just infinite amount of colors and too much information for one file to use as a reference. So imagine a samurai came along, saw a melon that was too heavy. He's like, I'm just going to hack off the edges and make it, juicy center, all very visual and appealing, and just carry that home. So that hopefully helps you memorize that profiles are basically cut up globes, and it makes it lighter for the file to carry. So this is a global standard, Adobe RGB, really good for color printing on inks and various other things. But the programming needed to interpret these colors, the interpreters aren't usually that great. A lot of web browsers were not friendly with Adobe RGB back in the day. Some of them are now, not all. sRGB was a global standard because the samurai chopped off more. How much more? Let's see here. Let's hold Adobe RGB for comparison. And we're going to click on sRGB, and now I can spin this around, and you can see sRGB on the inside is much smaller, has less colors available than Adobe RGB. And this made file sizes much easier to read, more compatible. And when you were dealing with like old internet with dial-up and cell phone data, sRGB still retains like it's the data champion. It's small and compressed, and it's why people still use it. As the internet gets better around the Earth, eventually in time, I hope they're going to improve color profiles. But for now, everything on Earth is pretty compatible with sRGB. An example being if you photographed a forest in Adobe in your camera profile, you put it into Photoshop into Adobe RGB, it would have to convert from the device profile, your Canon camera, Sony camera, Nikon, whatever, to Adobe RGB if that's what you like working in. When I work on my raw files, I tend to work on the camera profile, but then I set my conversion intent. I'll preview it in sRGB or Adobe RGB if that's how I'm going to send the file to the internet or my client. But what happens if I photograph a dark green tree, when it goes to sRGB, that same dark green that I see when I was editing isn't available in sRGB. So it's going to assume something close by, nearby. So when you choose something called rendering intent as you're converting a file, it'll ask, do you want nearest neighbor, like the closest number, or do you want something that's more appealing with the rendering intent? Visually, I think it's perceptive intent or saturation intent. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's different ways of converting the file based on aesthetically appealing or mathematically appealing. And just to give you a reference here, if I click on my projector, which I use my laptop for sometime, my projector has a different profile than Adobe RGB. So it's not going to display greens the same. It's not going to display reds the same. The device itself is capable of certain colors, and the profile is capable of other colors. And we're just trying to get the best translation possible using two different color profiles. You'll have the file color profile and the device capabilities, and then the translator in between trying to make it all come together. That's pretty much what color profiles are. This is a very oversimplified explanation, but the visual reference helps you understand that there are more colors in some profiles, less in others, and devices have their own unique profiles for display.